They went absolutely nuts up there for it. It was like getting out of the stage door for the cast at night was, you know, forget the Rolling Stones. These girls really ripped the town apart up there.
Now, Melbourne really has turned green to welcome Wicked. This is Broadway's biggest blockbuster. And back here in Australia, it's so good to see people. You saw the phenomenal response there from people on those on the big screen.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. The show's currently at the Regent Theatre in Melbourne. We opened about 3 weeks ago. And what they've done there for us is that the theatre's in Collins Street, and I'm sure a few of you know Collins Street. It's all green. All the trees way down for blocks after block have got all green lights in the trees. The town hall is turned green, and several other buildings within Melbourne City has turned green. So the wonderful thing about Wicked is that when it comes to town, it really takes over.
Now, we did see in the big screen there those vox pops from people, and that was opening night in Melbourne.
That's right, and that was an extraordinary night. You know, it was like a who's who of whoever, A-list, B-list and double Z-list, I think, from some of the faces I saw. But it was quite remarkable. And the show, I have to say, is in great nick. The costumes look pristine, the set looks fantastic, and the performances are absolutely electric.
Now, the audience in this show really do generate the hype behind it. You were saying earlier, people dress up. But...
Oh, they do, you know, forget the Rocky Horror Show. When you, I'm sure there's some serious Wicked fans out there. There you go, there's a blonde lady there, and there was someone else over there. But these people, I don't know about you, madam, but they do dress, they go the green face, they dress in the costumes, they either come to the show like that, or they hover outside the stage door. And some people have seen it, 100 or so times, which I'm not complaining. They buy their tickets, which is great, and they're great supporters of it. But it's an extraordinary piece.
How many people here have seen it before? That's what we like to see. Now, last time it was here, it was 2011, of course. It had a very short run because we had, a natural disaster being a flood. It must be so great to be able to bring it back now.
Well, the funny thing was, well, if those brains could be funny, they're not, but because I remember a lot of the cast were staying at key apartment blocks throughout Brisbane in the city, and a lot of them couldn't get down from their rooms because the lifts were closed down, so they had to walk 20-odd floors down. And eventually what we did was we knew that the rains were possibly, and the flooding was possibly going to come in and infiltrate into the orchestra pit, and beneath the stage here there's a huge amount of electrical equipment. So all the costumes were all lifted up 2 stories, I believe. The electrical equipment was disconnected, and then the waters did seep in, of course. But what was interesting is that we had to cancel, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks of performances, which when you do that with a show like this, it means make or break if the show's going to pay all its bills by the time it gets out of town. And Brisbane, while it was successful in these 7 or odd weeks that we were here, we couldn't play our full run. And that was the whole thing of coming back this time, is to do a decent length here. But it was certainly an interesting time when all that was happening, and we flew the company back to Sydney, Melbourne, to get out of town as such, and while we waited for the floods the rivers to subside.
So you didn't have any extra brooms lying around for Alpha?
Well, the girls flew home. They're pretty good because you don't have to get them on any airline because they've got a broom each, and one in a bubble, I should say, and one on a broom, and you just point them down. And they're fine, just watch out for the jumbos as you go, girls.
Now, John, Broadway, Broadway's Wicked has been the highest grossing show for 10 consecutive years. That is just amazing.
It is, it's amazing, because if the show on Broadway is in about a 1900 seat theatre, this is a 2000 seat theatre, so it packs 8 times a week for 10 years. And the take there, I'll give you a bit of insight into all of this, it grosses each week around $1.7, $1.8 million a week, the Broadway company. So it's big bucks. And that's just one company. There's also 2 other touring companies in America that are duplicates of the Wicked set that are touring. There's London, there's the UK tour, so there's 2 companies there. I believe there's one travelling through Europe. There's one in Japan. And of course there's this mothership that we call it.
I wonder, it really is a blockbuster when you say that. Now, what's some magic do you think that Wicked captures? Because it is a pretty amazing show. Like Variety magazine's called it a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, well, I think what's interesting about Wicked is that when it comes to town, it does engulf the city and everybody gets behind it. And you get, you know, people like this blonde lady down here and people up there that are actually absolutely passionate about the piece. And they go and tell 6 other people, and hopefully those 6 other people tell another 10 people, or whatever, but I think this lady here probably has told more than 6 people. But it is that, it actually, you know, we are working on trying to get the mayor here and the city to come along with us, so when we get here next February, oh God, you know, we hope to turn the town upside down.
Story